Hello again and welcome to MasterMind Minutes. My name is Gary Occhiogrosso. I'm the managing partner for Franchise Growth Solutions, which you can learn about by clicking on the link either above or below this program, depending on the platform that you're listening to or watching on. And MasterMind Minutes, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, is a program where we share tips from experts in, as we say, minutes, not hours. We have one guest, one question, and one expert answer. And today, my guest is a longtime associate, Ed Teixeira, who has over 40 years of experience in the franchise industry and is the vice president of franchise development for a company called franchisegrade.com, which is a leading franchise market research firm. But Ed has also served as corporate executive for franchise firms in the retail, manufacturing, healthcare, and technology industries, and was a franchisee of a multi-million-dollar home healthcare franchise himself. Ed is the author of Franchising from the Inside Out and the Franchise Buyer's Manual. He has spoken before the International Franchise Expo, the Chinese Franchise Association in Shanghai, and has lectured at Stony Brook University Business School on franchising. Currently, Ed is working on another book. He's co-authoring a college textbook on, and I'm interested to know about that, but it's based on how entrepreneurs can use franchising as a growth model. And Ed, first of all, thank you very much for being with us today. I truly
glad to be here, Gary.
And you know, as an adjunct at NYU, I teach restaurant development, business development. I'm curious to know, just tell us, in addition to telling us a little bit more about Franchise Grade, tell us about this new book you're working on.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Glad to be here, of course. First of all, let me just give a very brief overview. Franchise Grade was created and designed to be able to provide a portal where individuals could search a franchise opportunity, but also identify basically how that franchise would be evaluated by an objective source. We often refer to ourselves as the Moody's of franchise investment. And what we do is we have a database of about 3,000 franchise FDDs, and we use those franchise FDDs to go back, and by applying about 500 variables, we can actually grade a franchise performance from, let's say, an A+ all the way down to a D or an F. So we apply the variables, we put them up on our site. We have filters so that a prospective franchisee or an individual maybe with a cursory interest in franchising can take a look at a franchise opportunity. There's no cost to them, no obligation whatsoever, and they can see in capsule form how that franchise system has performed in the grade that we've assigned. They can also, if they wish, they can make a comparison of that franchise opportunity to 3 other franchise opportunities.
Okay.
So if someone's interested in, let's say, a home healthcare franchise, they can not only see how we rate that franchise, but also make a comparison.
And that sounds like a very valuable resource for, you know, the tens of thousands of folks who are purchasing franchises every year, because it's kind of an unbiased, you know, no axe to grind, so to speak, look at various companies. And that kind of takes me to the question that I have, and I think you certainly know enough about what I do, and I deal primarily in developing startups and emerging brands in the franchise world. And you know, we're always faced with a dilemma, and it's kind of folded into the question, because I understand that, look, Franchise Grade evaluates thousands of franchise opportunities, and you assign the grade as you just explained. But how do you address the situation for a startup franchisor that has no franchisees, or where you really lack sufficient information in the FDD to assign a grade? Because it doesn't mean they're not necessarily a good franchise, it just means they're really early on. So how would you approach that?
Well, that's a very good question, and it's rather timely. With our experience, quite frankly, recently with some franchises that have created an issue because the franchisees have had some, let's say, some complaints about them. We decided to take a look at franchises that don't have either a franchisee or an existing corporate location. And we designated a name to those after doing an analysis, and we call them smoke and mirrors franchises.
Uh-oh.
I know. What we did was we researched over 17,000 FDDs from 2014 to 2018. Why 4 years? Because we did a prior study on startup franchises, and we found that over 30% of startup franchises in their first 4 years of operation sold either 0 or 1 franchise. So it's obvious that startup franchises can have a very significant challenge trying to get off the ground. So we did our analysis, and we found that there were 213 FDDs in our search that had 0 outlets, and not just franchise, no corporate outlet. So that's an average of like 43 systems a year. So these smoke and mirrors franchises, it's interesting, when you look at them, they mirror or reflect a typical franchise in terms of the investment, the franchise fee, and even the royalties. So for all intents and purposes, they look just like any other franchise opportunity, except they just don't have any operating outlets.
Right.
So, we feel very strongly about this, because how could someone offer a franchise when they haven't even operated their own corporate outlet or even sold one franchise?
I hear you. And just for clarity on this one question, though, because to me, there's a distinct difference. Obviously, I'm dealing with a lot of startup franchisors who do have their own outlet, their one outlet. Some may have more than one. And look, you got to start somewhere. I've never really encountered someone franchising that has absolutely no outlets. I guess you have. For me, I'm not in the camp that a company that might have 1 or 2 of their own stores, or 1 with some operating history, would be smoke and mirrors. The other bucket is definitely smoke and mirrors. You're not putting them in the same bucket, are you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example. And quite frankly, it's been highly publicized, so I don't think I'm giving away anything.
I know what you're going to say. No, you're not giving anything away. Go ahead.
Burger IM.
Yeah, Burger.
Came to the United States, had absolutely no franchises, no corporate location, no pilot, which, by the way, I brought some international franchisors over my career in the States. Every one of them, they always had the objective of opening a pilot location first. I never had any client from overseas that said, oh, we just want to sell franchises. We don't need to open a pilot location. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
So absolutely not, Gary. And in fact, I franchise companies myself with 1 or 2 locations, and they're credible companies. They have an operating base. They have experience in the business. What they really need to do is simply they need help in franchising their business. So these are a totally different group of companies.
Right. So if I'm just to kind of close out on our question here. So if I'm a potential franchisee and I'm looking at, franchises to purchase, and obviously I want to get in touch with Franchise Grade, because you're going to, again, give me the kind of no axe to grind. And I bring you one of these. I say, hey, I'm interested in the Acme Franchise Company. And maybe I know or don't know what they have or don't have, but you discover that it's one of these companies that you've classified as smoke and mirror. And I'm sure you maybe have a different name for it. I don't know if you actually use the term smoke and mirror, but what are you going to tell me?
We have an acronym which...
Okay. Well, okay. But
I'll tell you about that later.
What are you going to tell me? Like, what are you going to tell me as the prospective franchise buyer?
We've developed a profile of these franchises, which, by the way, out of the 213 from the FDDs, 143 were actually what we categorize as groundless. They're based in the U.S. They're not either part of an area development program. they're not part of an affiliate program with an existing franchisor, and they're not an international franchisor looking to enter the US. These are pure franchise startups with nothing in terms of a location.
It's amazing
So
to me.
what we would tell you is, we would give you, and in fact, we have a report coming out. We have a number of questions and red flags that we will tell you to look for when you encounter a company like this that has 0 outlets whatsoever.
Well,
And that, by the way, that report will be out in probably the next day or so.
look, it's shocking to me. I thought I've seen it all, but okay. So as we like to tell folks, we just kind of give you we give you the answer and we give you a little bit of a tease here. Obviously, if you're in the market, franchisegrade.com is where you need to go. You need to contact Ed. Ed, tell us what's the best way for someone to get in touch with you, and keep in mind, we will be, when we post this, we will list all of your contact information, but please go ahead and let us know the simplest way to get in touch with you.
Simplest way, they can call me. I'm here. I'm based on Long Island. Franchise Grade is headquartered in London, Ontario. They can call me at 631-246-5782. And then they can email me, but they can go on the site franchisegrade.com, and we have a plethora of resources there.
Right.
And they can contact me there, through that as well. By the way, Gary, I didn't want to forget this. Those 143 companies we identified,
Mm-hmm.
they had about $595 million invested in them. So we can get that right off any franchises they've sold.
Right.
So that's all in their FDD.
Well, here again, I mean, this is the kind of information that a company like franchisegrade.com,
Incredible.
can uncover. And that's why I think folks should get in touch with you and learn more about it. And again, it's not something that isn't available in terms of the information. It's just a function of knowing where to find it, how to get it, and how to analyze it. So I can't emphasize enough to those of you who are listening or watching, please, if you're in the market, get in touch with Ed, get in touch with franchisegrade.com. I think the information really is invaluable. Ed, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope to see you in person again, like real soon, because I haven't seen you in months.
We've been to phase 2 in New Jersey and on Long Island, so hopefully we'll be in the meeting.
Yeah.
And by the way, Gary, I'll send you a link to this report. We're publishing it. It's about 20-odd pages long, and it'll be out the next 2 days.
I'd love to read it. Ed, again, thank you very much. Have a great rest of the day.
You too, and I'll see you soon, Gary.
Bye.
Bye-bye.